Hey everyone, today in this tutorial video, we will create a super cool iOS Siri style animation, but with a different twist. So let's get started and create this animation. Firstly, let's create a new composition and name it iOS Siri animation. I'm using the size of 1920 by 1080 and 30 frames per second with a duration of about 15 seconds with the background color set to black and hit OK. Now go to Layer, select New, and select the solid layer and let's name it Background. You can choose any color as we will change it afterwards, then hit OK. Next, make sure the solid layer is selected. Let's drop a 4-color gradient effect. Now let's set the first color to something bluish, the last color to something purple, and for the two middle colors, let's set them to black. Now adjust these two black corner points away from the composition, and in the blend, increase the blend value until it blends with the background. I think 290 or 300 is better. Perfect. Now hit T to open the opacity properties, and let's set the background opacity to about 90%. Now in the Shape tool, grab the Ellipse Shape tool and make sure the fill is set to none, and stroke is turned on with white color. I'm using a stroke width of about 125 pixels. Now holding Shift, make a perfect circle like this with a stroke on. Ensure the anchor point is in the center too, and let's set it in the center of the composition. I think we should increase the stroke value to 130 pixels. Now it's perfect. Align it again, and let's rename the layer as Stroke. Now hit Ctrl+D once to duplicate it. Now this time make sure the stroke is turned off and fill is set to solid color. Let's choose a dark blue color. Hit OK. Hit U to hide the properties, and let's rename the layer as Dark. And let's decrease its size like this. Select the dark ellipse shape layer, hit Ctrl+D again to duplicate it once more, and let's decrease its size once again. Now let's change the fill color to something around mid-gray, between light to dark. Hit OK. Now we have the structure. Now select the dark color layer, right-click, go to Layer Styles, and select the Drop Shadow effect. Now again right-click, go to Layer Styles, and select the Bevel and Emboss. In the Drop Shadow properties, decrease the opacity to around 50 to 60%. Turn on the Global Light option. In the distance, let's set it to 6%. Now in the spread, increase the spread value to something around 50 to 60%. Increase the size to around 15, which is much better. Now let's decrease the opacity to around 41%. Close the drop shadow properties and expand the bevel and emboss properties. Change the bevel style to outer bevel and increase the depth to around 162. Let's change the size to around 2 or 3 and increase the soften value to around 3.3. Turn on the global light option, and let's decrease the shadow opacity to around 11% and decrease the highlight opacity to around 45%. Hit U to hide it. Now again, expand the shape properties, select the Layer Styles option, hit Ctrl+C to copy. Now select the first shape layer and hit Ctrl+V to paste it. Let's rename this layer to Light. Now let's make some changes to this light shape layer. Expand the Layer Styles option, and in the Bevel and Emboss, let's decrease the depth to around 107%. Hit U to hide all the properties. Now let's make an effect. Firstly, go to Project and double-click, and let's import our two icons. Now first let's drop the microphone icon. Let's set it in the center of the composition. Hit S to open the scale properties, and let's adjust it in the center of the circle. I think 70 pixels is better. It's awesome. Now hit U to hide the scale properties. Now let's drop an invert effect to make it white. Perfect. Make sure the anchor point is in the center. Now let's select the light color shape layer and hit S to open the scale properties. Make sure the playhead is at 2.5 seconds and make a keyframe on scale. Now move the playhead to the beginning of the timeline and let's set its value to around 53. Select both keyframes, hit F9 for easy ease, and open the graph editor. Let's set the graph to left value at 0% and right value at 100%. Let's see our animation. Now again holding Alt or Option key, click on the scale stopwatch icon. Let's type a short expression as loop out. Hit Enter to execute the expression. It will automatically loop endlessly over the timeline. Hit U to hide the properties. Now select the stroke layer and let's drop some effects. Firstly, let's drop a wave warp effect, a 4-color gradient effect, and a noise effect. Now in the effect controls, let's change the warp properties. Make sure the wave type is set to sine and set the wave height to around -15. Increase the wave width to around 250% and the direction to 0 degrees. Let's change the wave speed to 0.5% and change the pinning to all edges and set the anti-aliasing quality to high. Now scroll down a little bit. Let's change the amount of noise to around 5 to 6% and uncheck the color noise option. Now let's choose our desired colors. You can choose any colors you want. Let's quickly choose our colors. Now move all 4 points a little closer to the stroke shape. Like this, it's perfect. Now let's drop an effect to the stroke layer named Deep Glow Effect to make it pop. Let's do some settings in effects controls. Change the radius to around 400%. Decrease the exposure value to 0.60 and change the blend mode to add. Expand the chromatic aberrations tab and enable it. Then increase the amount to about 0.54%. Now expand the quality options and increase the down samples to about 100%. Now we'll have a cool effect. You are free to choose or change the colors. Let's choose this color to something bluish. You can adjust the blue colors a little bit like this. I think it's perfect. Now in the project panel, let's import our cursor icon. Again, let's drop an invert effect to make it white. Hit S to open the scale properties, and let's adjust its size to something smaller. I think 30 is better. Now let's animate it. Hit U to hide it. Now select the cursor layer and make a keyframe on position and rotation. Move the cursor above the microphone somewhere here, and let's move these 2 keyframes to around 2.5 seconds forward. Make sure the playhead is now at the beginning of the timeline. Let's change the cursor horizontal position to the left of the composition and set the rotation value to 90%. Now let's see our animation. You are free to adjust the settings on your own. Now again, move the playhead to around 4.5 or 5 seconds forward. Let's make a keyframe again on position and rotation. Now move the playhead to around 6.5 seconds, and let's move the cursor to the right of the composition. Let's set its rotation to 0 degrees. Now let's see our animation. Select all the keyframes and hit F9 for easy ease. Now let's make it press the button a little bit. Make sure the playhead is where the cursor is on the microphone. Now in the properties, make a keyframe on scale and move the playhead to about 1 frame forward. Let's set the scale value to maybe 25%. Now again, move the playhead to 1 frame forward and let's reset the scale value to 30%. This will create a pressing effect on the icon. Select all the keyframes and hit F9 for easy ease. Now let's see our animation. I think it's better where the light or the circle presses. Let's set our keyframes here. You are free to adjust the keyframes for your desired effect. Now hit U to hide all the properties and let's see our animation. It's awesome. Now lastly, let's do some settings. Right-click, go to New, and select the adjustment layer. Now let's drop a vignette effect and increase the amount of vignette to around 120%. Now it's much better. At last, right-click, go to New, and select the null object. Now holding Shift or Control key, select all the layers except the adjustment layer and the cursor layer. Parent them to the null object, and now select the null layer. Make sure the playhead is at the beginning of the timeline. Hit P to open the position properties. Now make a keyframe on position, and let's change the vertical position to out of the composition. Move the playhead to around 2.5 seconds forward, and let's reset its value back to normal. Now let's see our animation. We will adjust the cursor afterwards. Now select both keyframes, hit F9 for easy ease, go to Graph Editor, select the graph and make it like this. It's perfect. You can adjust the keyframes a little bit for a smooth and quick animation. Hit U to hide the keyframes, and again hit U to open the cursor keyframes. Select all the keyframes, and let's adjust them to where the animation ends. Here, it's a better place. Now let's select the scale keyframes and adjust them to where the button presses. I think it's better. Now hit U again to hide all the keyframes, and let's see our final animation. It's super awesome. So try this in your projects. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and find the project file in the description below. Until then, I will see you in the next video.